Well, it sounds like you've been on an exciting alarm call chase with Brent, and it sounds like a lot of fun. It is difficult following up on alarm calls, and like I mentioned a little bit earlier, it can often end up leading to nothing, but who knows, maybe you'll bump into something on the way here. Welcome to a roaring campfire, and thanks to Jandra and Andrew for setting that up for us. This is Stefan, and good to have you back at the campfire.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Hello everybody, welcome. I feel very welcome for being over here, back again in front of the fire. I mean, I must say it's awesome to be back, and I'm glad it's on a slightly more longer term than it was in April or May. Yeah.
Exactly. We've got some exciting news for those of you that know Steph. For those of you who don't, we'll let you know a little bit more about him now, I guess. He's been in the industry for about 16 years, so he brings a wealth of experience to the team, and he actually came in for the first time a few weeks or months ago now, as he's a specialist trails guide, which means he spends a lot of time on foot, walking dangerous game, walking through areas like this, and he was brought in to bring an additional supplement to the show, a walking safari live on foot, and we did do a few broadcasts with Steph leading the walk, and I was actually on camera. It was so much fun, and we look forward to doing it more in the future, and that's why he's back. Well, at least one reason why he's back.
Thank you. I'm also looking forward to it. I mean, it must be honest with you, it's lovely walking through. I mean, the contrast between April, May to now, it's mad. The bush is just so much thinner and sparse. I mean, where we were walking in the grass is now just walking on sand. Visibility is massive, and animals are concentrated around these watering holes. It's great.
Exactly. It's certainly getting much more suitable for walking, and a lot less scary. It can be a little bit nerve-wracking in thick vegetation, which we do have here in the summer. A few months ago it wasn't quite summer, but it was still fairly thick, and walking now will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is.
Also easier to see the tracks on the sand. There's a lot more sandy pathways, so I think it'll lead to a lot more successful tracking, and that's a big reason why we like to incorporate the walking safari, the foot safari live, because we battle to share with you the art of tracking and even seeing the tracks from the cameras that are mounted on the vehicles. So that's something for you to look forward to if you haven't seen the walking safaris, some in-depth look in the tracking and finding of the animals, which we really battle to share with you. But sadly it's not going to be soon, and that's why Steph is back to get the ball rolling and get everything back up and running for the walking safaris. There's a lot that goes into it, and a lot of fine-tuning that still needs to take place, but it is something that we would like to incorporate more in the future. So watch this space.
Definitely looking forward to it.
And also just from the walking point of view, and also from a managerial role, he's got a lot of experience in managing teams, and he's also got a wealth of friends and colleagues in the industry that he's helping pull together as the WildEarth team is growing. So you can expect to see not only more faces like Steph, but a lot more that are going to be joining this growing team, one of which is Jamie, who's going to be the new presenter. She's arriving in camp tomorrow to start work officially, and she's going to do a little bit of behind the scenes, spend some time in the final control, be on the back of the vehicle with us, learning a few tricks or learning what not to do, I guess, depending on how you want to look at it, and you'll all get to meet her in the coming days. So that's another new face to look forward to. So, Steph, your time away is not of too much importance to me, but how does it feel to have been back now? You spent a few days here, and like you say, the bush has dried out a lot, so I mean, the changes you experience when you're away for a prolonged length of time often are compounded compared to us who are here every day. So what are the major things that you are missing or have noticed that have changed?
I've noticed the fact that the lions are tending to target the larger prey at the moment, the larger herbivores. They definitely are located within a radius around watering points. I mean, animals are starting to be drawn to the watering points, obviously heading up to October's craziness with all the drought. So I've noticed that a lot of activity around the watering holes, predator and prey. The bush is, as you said, quite open and nice to walk through. It's you hardly have to, you're concentrating on your sight, whereas a couple of months ago we were just using our ears to move around in the bush. definitely there's that edginess creeping in to the animals. They're getting that edginess, that hunger is starting to set in, that competition for food. So I'm starting to feel that energy, at least around that. And then definitely just enjoying the bush's calmness. The bush sort of, for me, almost feels like it's sleeping, it's resting, it's dormant. Although I must be honest, I found the first budding Nobile combritum today, so it's the surefire sign that spring is on the way. So we're heading out of our winter into spring, which is, I can't wait. Looking good.
Good, Steph, good. Well, we've got another person joining the fire. Welcome back, Brent.
Thanks very much, Scotty.
Good.
How are you?
Good and yourself?
Good.
Okay, so no luck with the alarm calls?
No, unfortunately not. They seem to be quite deep into the block between Gallagher Shortcut and Aubrey's Road.
That's a tricky area.
And it's a myriad of little drainage lines, so very, very difficult there. But Aubrey did have fresh tracks of a male leopard coming south into that block this afternoon. And hopefully during the night he pops up and walks on a road where we can find him.
Exactly. Well, we've been so busy chatting about what's been going on in the bush, how much it's drying up, introducing a lot of the viewers to Steph, who they may have not met before, and we've yet to talk about the actual program for this evening. So let's quickly run through the kind of rough plan for this evening's campfire chat. We usually play a few highlights of the week, and a lot of you will already know what Brent's highlight was. The incredible Nkuhuma Pride hunting Cape Buffalo. So we've got that little clip to look forward to, and then obviously we're going to be chatting about that, answering your questions. So please send them through. It's really easy. Hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or send an email through to questions@wildearth.tv. And then also an interesting hyena sighting that I had the other day at the den sites. It really is interesting to see the clan, and as we spend more time with them, we're getting to see more really interesting behavior. We're not necessarily understanding it, but we are slowly piecing together the puzzle of what's going on with this hyena clan. There's a new addition to it, this new little cub, and I guess that's what may be causing a lot of the heightened tension amongst the clan.
Yeah, I think it is an interesting dynamic. There's so many different individuals that are part of that clan. You got the cubs, we don't know whose they are, and females are coming in and out. You've got these interactions between adults. You've got little cubs that are having interactions with one another. It is quite tough to see what's going on over there, I must be honest. But what's your thoughts?
Well, with hyena hierarchy, it's incredibly complicated system, and even though they may understand it, for us as onlookers, it can be difficult to tell who is the alpha female in the first place, and then which is her daughter, which will be the next queen, and who is the younger daughter from that same alpha female, who again will then also be next in line for queen. So there's all these intricate things that play out amongst the clan.
No, and the power play and power struggle, which I think may possibly be happening at the moment, is absolutely fascinating. And Scotty was really, really lucky to be able to be there during one of those fascinating sightings where you don't actually know exactly what's going on, and a lot of what we're doing is we're trying to figure out what's going on, and we've always got to remember, we read the books, the animals don't. They don't have to do what the book says they should.
Exactly. Which makes it complicated. Anyway, what will not be complicated is playing you one of the sequences that we did share at the den. So some of you would have seen it, and enjoy. For those of you who haven't, the audio is incredible, and so is the interaction. Well, just a brief clip, but how incredible is that? The audio alone, even if your eyes were closed, you would have been thinking, what is going on over there? And basically, to give you a little bit of context as to what happened before that unfolded, the little cub was evidently not alone at the den, but its mother was not there. There was a lot of other sub-adults, smaller cubs, and another fully grown adult female at the den. And there was a lot of playful movements between the sub-adults and the cubs, and a little bit of nibbling and snapping and biting, but it was all quite playful and nothing too serious. And then the cub let off a few kind of whining squeals, and within seconds its mother had returned to the den. We had no idea where she had come from or whether the cub had heard her returning or sensed that she was returning. But she arrived and nestled herself into the burrow where you saw her lying with the cub. And she was there for a while. Another subadult hyena came up, greeted the cub, greeted the mother, no problems. And then another adult female arrived, a mother of other cubs. And when she tried to do the same thing, the mother of the smallest cub unleashed. And they both had a bit of a tussle. And we've all kind of chatted to it. We've sent off requests for analogies or different theories of professionals on this theory. But we have a few speculations, one of which Steph let me know about. So the one, that it could be the next queen coming, and the mother knowing that potentially she would not be, she would be concerned that this up-and-coming queen would potentially want to attack the cub to eliminate future competition.
Yeah, I thought that was quite an interesting story, and because one of our colleagues in the industry has been in it for about 20 odd years, and he, without even seeing the footage, he suggested that because there's a hierarchy and that hierarchy is hereditary, that the future and upper-coming queen was just getting rid of the youngest competition for her. So while she was still establishing her power base, that's exactly what she was doing. It's just eliminating or trying to eliminate. And that is also why we see that large adult female not exhibiting the type of protective behavior that you'd associate with another individual trying to, kill her cub, basically. So yeah,
looking after family, but not sure which one's more important at the moment.
Exactly.
Another thing you pointed out, and we did chat about on the morning, was all of that wet puddle of urination right at the entrance to the burrow. Now, it's not commonly there, sometimes nearby the den, but the fact that it was right at the entrance may also play some role into exactly what was going on. The animals, a lot of the animals, including the hyena, will use these urination puddles as kind of information hotspots, and they'll be telling a story by urinating there. And the fact that it was right at the entrance to that burrow could also be some kind of a signal that somebody was trying to kind of stepping on that cub's toes or stepping on the queen's toes. Some kind of a message was passed in that.
And in that, I mean, you could find that if that female who was pushing onto the female who was blocking the burrow is the alpha's eldest daughter, is she not even trying to secure the rights for her cub, the next generation beyond? Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many different interesting facets that could have happened in that situation.
Now, speaking of different facets, we've just got a question through from Ellen in Arkansas, and she's wondering, is it possible that another clan is coming in to try and overthrow the current queen? Could a queen be overthrown by another queen and her clan or her territory be taken in that fashion? Brent, what do you think?
Ellen, unfortunately, I don't think so. Those hyena clans are quite strong, and they generally are quite closely related, a lot of them, and they would defend the aggression they show towards another clan of hyenas is 20-fold of what anything we've seen at the den site. It's pure. They will literally rip another hyena from another clan from to piece, and the chances of another queen leaving the safety of her clan and her territory and coming in as an individual to try to usurp a dominant queen in another home range, I just really don't see that happening. Generally with hyenas, with the dispersal of hyenas, in my understanding, it's the males that will disperse and move through to the clans, and the female clans generally do tend to stay quite solid. You guys got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I guess I agree with Brent. Steph?
I do think so. I think den sites are usually in the middle of the core of the hyena territories. They'll defend those den sites with their lives if need be. So the type of aggression that we saw definitely wasn't that. To me, it looked like a bit of an internal power struggle. It looked like a bit of an internal hierarchical sort of issue. It wasn't a defense of a den site from another clan. So definitely good question though.
Yeah,
but,
very good.
Yeah, I've actually on that. I've heard a story. I've never seen seen this, and again, what you read in books and what you hear, you can take with a pinch of salt. But I've been told that hyena have hunted up to their clan's boundaries, and they often chase their prey for many, many kilometers at high speed. 50 to 60 kilometers an hour can be sustained for many kilometers until they tire out their prey. And in these long hunts, if the prey crosses into their clan's boundary, I've heard that they almost jam on brakes on an invisible line. Now again, I would like to see that happen, but that has been documented. It is in a reliable document, so it can be that strict and that well defended, as Brent and Stefan have said.
I've seen very interesting behavior around clan boundaries. I mean, tails come up, immediate excitement, greeting and scent marking. So they're definitely, I think they're far more solid sort of boundaries than, say, a lion pride territory. I think they do defend them far more vigorously, and there's a lot less overlap.
Well, speaking of hyenas moving around and clan interactions and dynamics, we've got a question through from Jilly. Good to have you with us. And Jilly's interested to know, will hyena practice the same behavior as lion and leopard when it comes to forcing out young males to ensure that they head off and spread their genes elsewhere and then maintain a healthy gene pool?
I absolutely think so, Jilly. I think it's healthy for young males to disperse. I think we see it across a very wide spectrum of mammals, and it's good reason. And in a space like this, where you have millions of square, kilometers of land basically available for, in particular, hyenas who are known to be very nomadic. It's absolutely, they're not held in by fences. They're not held away by tar roads or by habitation whatsoever. And we're sitting in a very sparsely populated part of South Africa, so absolutely, I think so.
What would be interesting, I guess, is whether they are forced out as much as lion and leopard are forced by their fathers. Or do they have a more natural tendency to wander off at about 2 or 2.5 years, which is the age that they will start to move off the males?
I think it's probably it's not nearly as aggressive as the cats. I don't think they're as forced. But then again, I'm not sure. It is a very, very interesting thing. I would say that it's more of a natural migration, like you would find with wild dogs as well. It's a far more natural migration away from the natal area, where there's lion and leopard is a very forced migration, and they're chased. But definitely, I do think there would be some pressure from other clan members. Maybe we just haven't seen it, and maybe it's a lot more subtle than in the cats. So it definitely could be there, but it does seem to be a bit more subtle of a migration.
Yeah, well, I guess one thing that we all need to remember is that even though we spend 6 hours a day out here, it's usually not with any given animal, one animal, and that's only a quarter of the day. So we're missing a lot of what goes on, and therefore our puzzle has a few holes in it.
Exactly.
Well, I think it's been wonderful chatting about the hyena, and as you could tell, we could probably chat about this and different theories the whole night, but sadly we don't have that much time, so it's time to now move on to, I don't think it's the highlights of the week. It could possibly be, in certain categories, one of the highlights of the year. It's something that we haven't seen for many, many months, and it's important part of nature. As harsh as seeing kills can be, it is important, and the death of one animal is the success and livelihood of another, and it's critical to happen, and it's not something we get to share with you or capture very often. So Brent, tell us a little bit about your afternoon.
Well, it actually started about 4 or 5 days before that. We tracked the Nkuhuma Pride. I think you actually had them the evening before, but in total I think we spent about 7 or 8 drives, and a lot of that sort of all the drive with the Pride, and we saw them attempt to chase buffalo a couple of times in very thick bush. We could see very little, and then when they went across to Arathusa, they actually chased the buffalo chased them more correctly, right, quite close to us, but again it sort of looked like a half-hearted attempt, and they started looking quite hungry, and then Well, actually, I sort of owe you for this, Scotty. Scotty was on the tracks of these lions.
Yes, he does owe me.
And Scotty was on the tracks of the lions, and he got a brief glimpse of Junior disappearing into the thickets.
And I thank VM for finding Junior. So you actually owe VM.
As I said, finding animals is a team sport. We don't any of us take individual credit. It's all of us working together to try get you guys the best show possible. But so then we went through there, and I said, I'm going to go there for a little bit, where we left them sleeping, and then I'll stay there for half an hour. They're going to be flat cats, and then I'll meander on and look for something else. And I don't know why, I just got the sort of little, and I was like, no, I'm not going to leave now. I'm going to sit here. They're flat. Oh, no, that one moved a little bit funny. I think it's going to get up and move. And they didn't for 2 hours. But fortunately, they did, and there's no better way to explain it, and I could try, than to actually show you guys what happened. So here's the clip. I hope you enjoy it. It was probably one of the best afternoons I've had in a very, very long time.
That lion stock, here we go. Towards where the other lions are coming. Junior's actually coming in from the right. She's jumped on the buffalo. She's right on its back. She slowed it down. And Junior's there, right in front of them there. Hold on, go.
I'm guessing it's possibly the two older lion.
That lioness will stay attached. There we go. She's loosening her grip a little bit. I think she could have felt that. There we go. That buffalo has just died.
Welcome back, everyone. And we temporarily lost comms there, and we were both sitting there not really knowing what to do. But I am sure you all enjoyed seeing that incredible footage. And I guess well done to Andrew for the camera work.
Very well done, Andrew.
And like we were saying, it can be a little bit harsh to see, but it's important to remember that it takes a lot of attempts for lion to get lucky, and it can be very difficult for them to succeed. I remember Brent arriving going, I've seen them hunting 7 times. Statistically, it has to happen.
And I did go on about those statistics. I was like, I have to stay with these lions now. I have to. Okay, they chased the buffalo then. That's number 1. Then they stalked an Inyala. That's number 2. Then a grey duiker, number 3. Then they chased another buffalo. Number 4, then we had the tracks of them chasing buffalo, number 5. Then they chased another buffalo, number 6. And then I don't know what happened when they crossed into the boundary, across the boundary to the east of Arathusa. And we don't know what happened before on that sunrise Friday, because when Scott found the tracks, they were just walking. They weren't really chasing anything. So, and on the research I'd found for this area, it's 12 to 17% of lion hunts are successful. So 1.2 to 1.7 times out of 10 they catch something. So I knew I was getting into the sort of correct odds. If I was a gambling man, it had to happen in the next few drives. So, but fortunately we sort of waited it out, and we were incredibly lucky to see that. It's not very often that we get to see a kill like that, and they did it out in a very open area, and quite often those in this area happen in real big thickets. So it was just a culmination of being in the right place at the right time.
Yep, I think so. It's very rare to see them in the day. I mean, I think it's probably once a year, maybe once every 2 or 3 years even, if you're lucky to see something like that. And that's doing the job every single day. So it's definitely a rare occurrence to witness, I think, in under the conditions that we saw it in, definitely. So well done. Well done to you guys. Lucky. Well done to everyone, and for keeping it's the tenacity of watching the show every day and watching
Exactly.
And as I often say, patience is the most important arsenal in your weapon. Oh, it's the most important weapon in your arsenal when it comes to seeing those incredible sightings.
Okay, well, we've Now, gonna, I guess, dig a little bit deeper into what you think may have happened. And Ron has asked a question which is going to help us delve into this. So, Ron's interested to know, how exactly do the individual lions within that pride all contribute? What were their specific roles? How would you kind of break that down in terms of roles and responsibilities on the hunt? And I guess it's specific to the Cape Buffalo.
There's been a lot of debates, and if you read quite a lot of papers over the years amongst lion experts on the amount of sort of cooperative hunting and signals that lions can send to each other. I personally believe there's probably more than we think, and I think a lot of the cues are visual. And there's quite an interesting paper I actually read after watching that someone is busy studying sort of the ear movements with those black on the back of the ears to see if those are giving signals to the other females during the hunt. And in this particular case, we sort of had the two chasers, and then the rest of the pride almost acted as catchers. So the two went off, and initially I thought they were chasing zebra. I could just see a zebra, but I heard oxpeckers, and we knew there was animals, whether it be buffalo or whatnot there. And the two lioness sort of went right around the back, and the rest of the pride stayed pretty much where we were. And Junior must have been about 500 meters behind everything else. But obviously, as that initial charge, and if you look carefully at that footage in the beginning, there are two lionesses chasing two different buffalo. And then the one lioness manages to get on the back of the one buffalo, and the other lioness flanks off the buffalo she's chasing to join this one. She gets bucked off. The second lioness jumps on, and that slows that animal down. Then the catchers sort of came into play, and they moved around the front. And that even slowed the buffalo down a bit more. Now he had lions behind him and in front of him. And it was quite difficult to see, but believe it or not, Junior actually came running from wherever he was, and he was the lion sort of standing in front of that buffalo that sort of got it to that initial stop. They got the rest of the pride a chance to get into it. And then, I don't know, and just watching, I know I spoke about it quite a bit, as the different lions moved, you could see them watching each other, and I really think there's a lot of visual cues, and it's nearly impossible to prove, but as they watch how the other one moves, and they respond accordingly to how the others are moving. I don't know what you guys think about that. It's an interesting topic, and I'm sure we could probably debate it till the early hours of the morning.
Exactly, but at least Junior did finally pull his weight and show us that he does contribute to that pride. Now, we've got a question through from Kim. Good to have you with us. And she's interested, Steph, to know, what do you think, what other animals can we expect to feed on this carcass? How many animals could be fed by one buffalo? And it's a great question, Kim, because it hasn't finished now that the lions have left.
Hi, Kim. It is actually a good question, and it goes on for many years. It's not just something that we're going to be seeing over the next couple of days and then we don't see it anymore. So we can expect, the vultures pretty much finished everything from what I saw
completely.
today.
So pick the bones
meat-wise.
Yeah. Then we've got jackal and hyena that move in, but we also have even some small rodents will actually come and feed off of carcasses. You have the keratin beetles, horn moths that go and look after the fur and the leftover bits and pieces of horn. You've got other beetles, scarabs that will move into the brain case and eat the inside, of all the sinus cavities and the sinews and the tendons. You have porcupines that will come in over the next couple of months and sort of break the carcass open and carry bits and pieces away. I've even seen hyenas approach old carcasses and dismember them to take them as toys, chewing bits and pieces. I've even seen elephant carry bits and pieces away. And as this carcass sort of will spread over that area, what amazing amount of animals will partake in it. Tortoises will chew on the bones for mineral deficiencies, shrews. I've even seen millipedes actually on old bones. I don't know what they were doing there, but I gather it's something a minerals collection. So absolutely, over the next couple of weeks and months, even years, we're going to see activity around those bones, and it's just wonderful how Mother Nature sort of takes care of it. Doesn't poison the area with too much bacteria, spreads the carcass around, and Yeah, good question.
I should have warned you guys. I should have washed my hands before I shook your hands. I was playing in that carcass today on drive.
Brent had a sheltered childhood, so now he plays with buffalo carcasses. Anyway, folks, it's been a wonderful, wonderful evening with all of you, and it always seems like it's too short, but we've got time constraints, and we do need to start thinking about the sunrise safari and what we're going to be doing all with you then. But thank you so much for joining us, not only at the campfire but also on safari this afternoon. Sorry for the tech issues that we're having along the way, but that's part of a live safari adventure, so don't let it get you down. And Brent, well done for being in the right place at the right time.
Thanks very much, and thanks to everyone who helped me be in the right place at the right time, and thanks to everyone who stuck it out on the back of the vehicle with us to get to that point, that kill.
Yeah, a lot of you waited a long time to see that, I guess, and a lot of you may have been surprised, but like we say, it is nature. Steph, it is so good to have you back as well.
Thank you very much.
And another reminder, expect to see a new face, Jamie, who will be joining the team officially. Some of you may have met her on her interview drives. She's going to be one of our new presenters, and she's going to bring a lot to the table, so you should all look forward to meeting her. But from us at the campfire, thanks to everyone in Final Control and to the cameraman for setting this all up. Have a good evening. We'll see you next time.
Cheers. There's the lions.
Can you hear them?
Yeah.